हाँ, आ गए, आ गए, आ गए। Hi, Mehika.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just putting on my camera. Just a
Okay.
second. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll see if mine goes on.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good, good. So, welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very, very excited.
We read about you and we were very, very happy that Hermina connected us to you. And I have also Mahima with me here on the call. So Mahima, me and Vaishnavi, we've been working on the gender dialogues, and in fact, she's leading one of the regional partners who are there for the gender dialogue.
Oh,
So, Mahima, you there?
Yes, Jasmine, I'm very sorry. Just give me 5 minutes, I'll be there.
No problem, no problem.
what time is it there?
It's going to be 5 o'clock, 10 minutes to 5 o'clock.
Ah,
What about you?
it's 7 a.m.
So you
Right.
woke up early today, or is it a normal routine you follow?
Usually I am up at this time, but I'm just going to bed around this time because
Oh,
quarantine has me flipped for some reason. I have
actually,
college application season happening right now, so I'm doing all of that, and I'm more productive at night. So I've been sleeping all day and working all night. Probably not healthy, but it works.
absolutely. Where are you based, Mehika?
Where am I, huh? Oh,
Where
where
are
am I
you?
based?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in New Jersey. So the like by New York City, but like an hour-ish away.
Okay. My uncle used to stay in Manhattan and now he's shifted to Florida. The
Right.
same is one of my very good, like you can say, like a brother. He's
Uh,
there. So they are based in California. They were earlier in Chicago. So now
Oh,
they're in California. So it's like we have some here and there families spread up.
that's nice. I love the cities here. Like when I'm applying to colleges, I already know like I'm going to apply to New York City, I'm going to apply to LA, I'm going to apply to Boston. And I have that set because I love the cities. I don't like the suburbs anymore.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, we are here, we are talking about, and we read the projects that you have undertaken till now. So, it's quite interesting. And I think we
Thank
connect
you.
very well. We connect very well on those issues because we're
Definitely.
just discussing how do we go about and things. So, very nice to know that there are other people along with us who share the same vision. And
Yeah, I'm
it's great.
very excited to meet everyone and participate in this. Like
Yes.
I'm beyond excited. I haven't done I did a lot of like panels and public speaking and events before Corona started, and
Hmm.
then COVID started, and I have not had the opportunity to do much. I did a COVID fundraiser through Ladyship. I actually did my Arangetram last month. Last month I
Oh,
completed it virtually, which was interesting. We live streamed it. But through that, I did a COVID fundraiser and we raised like $5,000 and donated it. So I was able to do that, but I definitely missed just gender equality things. So when Hermina reached out to me yesterday, I was like, yes, 1,000 times yes, I need to do this. I'm so
my
excited.
My cousin managed to finish her Arangetam right before the lockdown was being announced. She's in Dubai.
Oh, that's so lucky.
She's in Dubai, so she was lucky. I mean, they somehow things worked in her favor, maybe because
Mhm.
they were supposed to have it in April, but then something happened, and their guru was supposed to fly back to India for some urgent purpose in the family. So they said, okay, let's prepone it to February end. So she kind of finished it, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy it got over." So,
I can imagine.
but her
We
other
were
batch,
supposed to.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, we were supposed to do it in July, and then we have to do like virtually learn all of the dances. and then virtually perform them. So it was like incredibly difficult and different, but we were still able to get it done, which is pretty interesting.
True, true. I'll just get back, Mahima. Mehika, just let me see
Yeah.
everyone's there. And we officially start at 5 o'clock here, so there are 5 minutes more.
Okay,
And we quickly start. Yeah. So welcome once again.
thank you.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Jasmine and okay, Mahima, Hermina. How are you all? Hello,
Yeah. Hi,
Keshav.
ma'am.
Hi, Sudha. How are you? I'm good. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. So nice to catch up again.
Yes, for
Sudha,
sure.
ma'am, we really are thankful to Hermina to connect us to very wonderful people. There is Mehika Iyer with us
Hi.
today, and
I
there is also I think Simone will be joining us, right, Hermina?
That is correct.
Yes. So we have some really interesting people on board along with you, Sudha ma'am. So Mehika, Sudha
yeah, so
ma'am,
nice.
Mehika?
Uh,
Yeah, Sudha ma'am is here. She's been a very strong support for all our dialogues. And
that's great.
she's been in the sector for over 25 years, right, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. It's really nice to
Uh,
meet you.
Nice
yeah.
meeting you, Mika. Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself to each other? It would be great.
Yeah, so I'm Vika. I'm 16 years old, and I run a nonprofit called Ladyship, which is committed to gender equality in leadership positions.
Oh, that's nice. Where is it, Mika?
I'm in New Jersey right now. We're based in
Okay.
New Jersey, New
Okay.
York.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, my name is there already, Sudha. And I'm based in Bangalore, that is South India.
Yeah.
And I've been in the social development sector for, of course, more than 25 years now.
Oh, wow.
Since my college days, of course, I'm quite been yeah, especially working with the women and children and gender related issues, because gender cuts
Okay.
across all the any development, any kind of work related. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
I miss coming to India. We were
Oh,
supposed to come this summer to go see my grandparents in Karnataka, in Dharwad. It's like a
okay.
small,
I know
yeah.
I'm from Bangalore. That is, I'm Karnataka down the south thing. Dharwad
Yeah.
is just maybe 12 hours
Yeah.
journey from, yeah, from Bangalore. Yeah, if you're
We,
planning to
we
come, please do come.
yeah, we were going to come see them for the summer, but then COVID happened.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Pierre is here. Pierre.
Hello, how are you guys? Sorry, I'm just putting on my video. I apologize.
Oh my God, I haven't
Hello.
seen you in forever.
I
Hi.
know. I saw you last time in February. It's been such a long time since then. Oh my
How have you
goodness.
been?
I've been good. So yeah, hello everyone, ladies. So we met out in St. Lucia for when Hermina and the Aspire Optimus Foundation were doing their STEAM and Innovation Symposia out in St. Lucia. And I'm Pierre Vanderweel, and I am the founder of Stronger with Music. And basically we promote the importance of music and mental health, and also music and social impact. But yeah, how are you doing? How are you?
I'm good. It's been so long. I definitely miss the symposium and the pool and the warm weather.
That was literally the last hurrah, and then
Oh my God.
suddenly lockdown happened.
I know. I was so like, I was looking forward to Djibouti too, and then it happened. I was like, darn. But
Guess not. How's
yeah,
America? How is it? I can't re-enter at the moment. Normally I
it's
live in New York, but I'm in the UK, so
currently going up in flames because no one wants to wear a mask here. And we've got COVID cases going by the minute, and
yeah.
they want to open schools now. So that makes
Oh.
no sense. So I have to go back to school in September I'm probably, I don't want to go because I know for a fact that the kids in my grade have not social distanced, but it's fine. I think I'm going to try a remote option. I'm going to like beg for a remote option because like
I
safety.
definitely would.
But it's like it's kind of crazy here, COVID. No one, especially in my area, for some reason, no one wants to wear a mask. So you'll go out and you're expecting people to be all safe, and then they're acting like everything's normal, and that's not good, and it's not safe. But it's going. I'm pretty much just at home. I'm doing like my college applications right now, and my like just extra ladyship stuff. And I had to set up an interview with you for my podcast. I took a quick hiatus.
Oh yeah, your podcast. Yes, please. I would love that.
I'll contact you after the panel's over because I'll probably end up contacting everyone on the panel.
Everybody on the call.
Yeah, because I do podcasts for ladyship, and I interview women who have been in the field. And I would love to get some women from India or from other countries because right now I just have mostly Europe, Australia, and the United States. So I will contact all of you guys on LinkedIn, I guess.
I'll put my email. I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
So we also have Simone with us, and we really welcome her on board. She is also one of the speakers who will be here along with Mihika. So good evening from India. Simone, please come on board and share a few words with us.
Thank you, and good morning from the Bahamas.
Lucky. Oh my gosh.
Morning.
It's really wonderful. Different time zones, different people, but one cause. So it's really overwhelming that people are there across the globe who actually feel the need for it. So welcome.
I just want to say that Piera has a song that benefited the victims of the hurricane there, and it's supports the people in the Bahamas as well. So that actually forms a connection. She's never met Simone. So Simone, I wanted you to know that Piera is somehow connected to Bahamas as well.
Hi, Simone. Hey. Yeah, so I actually grew up in Abaco, in Treasure Key. I'd been going since I was like 7 months. And then obviously when the hurricane happened, I wrote a song called the Come Back Home Abaco Relief Song. And yeah, I've been raising funds since, performing in relief concerts. And right now, actually, the music video is in festivals, raising awareness, and just been nominated for a Shorts Award. So I was actually there. I was quarantined in the Bahamas, and I was out in Abaco about 8 weeks doing food and water distribution. So yeah, I kind of wish I was still there. I know the cases are not good, but I miss being there. But nice to meet you.
Wow, that is amazing. I have chill bumps. I lived in Abaco as well. I lived there for about 7 years. So I've not had the courage, I must admit, to go back since Dorian.
Yes.
Just seeing the footage and hearing the stories has been very difficult. And of course, a lot of people migrated to Nassau, where I live now.
Yes.
And just journeying with them is difficult. So thank you so much. I'm so honored on behalf of our country and Abaco for what you're doing for us. I appreciate that very much.
I love Bahamas very much. It's been home since I was a baby, so I wanna get back. But I know your cases keep going up now, because during lockdown I was actually in Nassau. I was actually coming out to perform in a concert for an opening of a primary school that I sort of like helped fund and rebuild through the song in Abaco. And then I literally arrived into the country, and then they locked down, and I was like, oh, where do I go?
Wow.
But a family took me in. They took me in for 3 months.
Wow.
So I've just been able to get back to the UK, but I'm already missing it there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
I definitely recommend the song. I listened to it in the shower, like when I showered for like an entire month after St. Lucia and then it's such a good song. The vibe is good.
Yeah, I definitely need to get that.
I will send
And
it to
share
you.
that.
If you use Spotify and Apple Music, I can send you the link. I'll also put my email in the chat too. So
Great. Thank you
Piera,
so
I
much.
think Piera, I think you can share that link with all of us on the chat here because we all are
I
looking
will.
forward to that interesting song which you have made, and it would be really wonderful. So you can share with all of us here.
I will. I will do that
Yeah.
now.
So I have all the speakers on the panel here today. So I would like to officially start the program. If everyone's ready, Hermina, what do you think? Can we start?
Yes, I believe you can start. Go ahead.
Okay. So today we are here as a part of the Global Voices program, and this is the first dialogue which we are doing for the gender series. As a welcome note, I just want to share a brief experience. So when I started my journey into the development sector, it started with a project of working with women and young girls who were victims of riot that happened in 2002 in Gujarat. I was supposed to document the stories of these women, and I had just entered my 10th grade. And I was very enthusiastic that I want to take up social service as a field. And so my father said, "Okay, let's see how you survive." And he put me in connection with someone who were working with these victims, and he said, "Go, stay, learn the stories, and if you survive the journey, I'll think ahead if you can choose this line or not." I went there. Within the first day, I came back crying, and instead of documenting and helping the person with whom I was working, the only questions which were running in my mind were, are we as humans so brutal that we can inflict a violence as grievous as those women had faced? I just couldn't find the answer. And later on, I had my doubts if I'll continue in this line. But then another challenging project came in which I was working with the National AIDS Control Organization in our country, and it involved working with sex workers in 3 states of India. Again, helping them out with their issues, their rights, and I got more closer to issues faced by women and gender across. And I realized that when we talk about women empowerment, or when we talk about gender equality, it's not a fight between a man and a woman. It cuts across various sections, and there are various challenges that exist even today. I have had students who at the age of 18 now are mothers to 2 kids already. That means imagine they were married off quite early in their life without even understanding their joys or their dreams, or even knowing what they want to do in life. They just became victims of child marriage. Similarly, various other issues of infanticide and feticide still exist, and that is why we have many states in India and many parts of the world where gender ratio is completely, you can say, skewed sex ratio which exists. So based on all these factors, studying and learning about how gender inequality still is prevalent at a major scale, I was very excited to be the convener for these dialogues. And as I said just a few minutes back, that we are in different parts of the world, yet we are connected here today on a global platform to discuss about an issue which all of us feel is relevant and is required to be brought out, because most of the time the human tendency is to sweep every relevant issue or every important matter under the carpet, or hide it in some closet, so that no one kind of questions you, or we just completely ignore it. So I'm very happy to see that. And continuing forward, I would like to welcome Keshav Gupta, who's the founder of Dias and also the person behind these dialogues, to give his remarks. Welcome, Keshav.
Hi, Jasmine. Hi. A very warm welcome to all of you across time zones. And I'm Keshav. I'm based in Delhi. And I've been listening to the conversation. It's just so inspiring. It's a combination of inspiration, happiness. I think that I see when all of you across, I would say, spaces identities, your own values have sort of, all of us have gathered together here. I wouldn't say I'm behind all of this. I'm only behind the Zoom call who's admitting people. So I'm just the Zoom call operator. Um, I would just like to say that that growing up for me as as a child, I have seen that children face issues that may not or may have something to do with gender, and all of us are children at the end in a lot of ways. So when we really talk about gender equality, we are really talking about also a much deeper part of benefit to everybody, because that value that comes from there, I mean that's largely nurturing for everyone. So I feel that, and the second part about diversity, I think that sometimes we think that diversity is important because of equality. Yes, as a fundamental value, truly, but I think sometimes what is lost is the talents, uniqueness of every individual when we are confined ourselves in our own models of who we should talk to, and when we create these silos. Uh, and these silos have existed for a very long time, except that now and some people were on the good side of the silos, which we call as privileges of bubbles. Others were on the not so good side of the silos, who were suffering. And uh, and in my own experience, I just want to tell you last story about what I've seen with in Afghanistan. I was there a couple of years back, and I was working with this young girl who was in grade 10. So she was about 15. So Mehika, probably your age, and she came to me and she said, "Sir, whatever homework that you had given me, I couldn't do it." And I was like, "That's fine, but what happened?" So I thought that she will probably say that I lost my notebook, or one of these excuses we usually make. And she said that Taliban blew up our powerhouse from the power center of the regional area. So we did not have electricity for 2 days, and the laptop battery ran out. So I think that challenges are not just in structural sense, in processes, in mindsets, but real security challenges around the world exist for many sections of the society. And that's all I would say. Few years back, I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Gloria Steinem, and I had a very brief conversation. That's when I understood for the first time that a gender activist, or a feminist, as they call, is just a human being who just wants something so natural, something so needed, and something so important. So it gives me a lot of pleasure. The DIAS Global Voices program is uh, is also to recognize the intersectionality of these issues. So when we are doing education, we are doing gender within that as well. When we're doing industry, we are doing gender as well. When we are doing peace dialogues, we are doing gender as well. So I also welcome you, moving forward from here to really join hands from across spaces. So in that process, one inspiring person that I see with, is Hermina, who Hermina and I got connected some time back. And since then it's been a beautiful journey. So I know that that's something that can be possible with all of you moving forward. And I humbly look forward to that. Just because I did not plan for this last thing that I wanted to do, but because I saw that there were people interested in music, I thought that, and I have the opportunity to invite a musician for a project. Within this program, we are also doing an international musical collaboration where where we had a couple of musicians from Atlanta, Georgia, who have redone Imagine by John Lennon as a song of peace and hope. And then me as Keshav, not the founder of the Dias or the man behind or whatever labels these are, but as a musician, I have put in, I'm a music producer. I do techno and like a bunch of stuff, and I do blues music. So it's just a lot of blues music, a lot of BB King. So I tried to just fuse all of that Indian classical into then adding another flavor to it, and then we are pushing that sound ahead, that voice ahead for more musicians to join in, see what they want to do with it. So I just want to end my sort of this huge thing, whatever I said, is uh, by just that what we expect here in our organization as a forum, as people, is honesty, empathy, as basic values, respect, and when we are talking, and on panels there's this sense of pretense sometimes that some people have, that an accent is different or a semantic is different. In our forums, we want honesty, like a conversation like Mihika was having and Jasmine was having. So I'm just glad that that has happened already. I mean, we don't even have to mention it properly. So I'm very, very grateful to all of the speakers. I look forward to connecting with all of you after this. Today is my birthday, so I haven't been directly involved a lot in the dialogues, but I really wanted to be here today. So it's the biggest birthday gift I've got, I think, from Jasmine, from Hermina, and from like today from all of you. So I just want to play a video for you guys. It's a 2-minute video. That's the song, and it also shows the opening program that we did on the 12th for the International Youth Day, for which I would like to wish all of you belated International Youth Day, and to all the young people, and also all the people who have that youth in themselves alive. So to essentially to all of you. And with that, I just want to play that video for you guys.
There's no, it's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us on the sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. When they say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Nothing to kill or die for.
Yeah. So Yeah, that's all. And that's all from here from Delhi from me. Thank you. I'm here on the call listening to all of you and looking forward.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Keshav. Oh, please, Jasmine.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Keshav.
Happy
I
birthday, Keshav.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sudha
a
ma'am.
very happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
ma'am. Thank you.
yeah.
In fact, thanks for giving us the chance to choose this days to open our dialogues, and we are really happy for it. Above all, I think your presence makes a difference, and the fact that you shared what your learnings has been on this issue makes us all the more proud that we are there.
This is
At the
Jasmine. I will just wind my entire speaker time by saying that this is the biggest birthday party that I could have ever imagined during the COVID time. So I can really show certain fingers to COVID today and say that here is my birthday party, a grand one with lovely ladies and all the gentlemen and everyone from all wherever they identify from here. So thank you, and I'll be listening in, guys. Thank you.
So to begin our conversation, I just want to say something which I reflected a few minutes back. I was watching a trailer of a movie which is going to be released soon in India. It's a Bollywood movie, and which shows it's based on a real life story of a girl who wanted to join the Air Force, and she wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force, but somehow she had to face the challenges of being argued on lines of gender stereotypes which we often face. Her father in one of the dialogues says, uh, be it a man or a woman who's flying the plane, they are called pilot. That was it, and which clearly signified one thing, that whatever gender stereotypes anyone faces, it's all in the mindset. So to begin with, I welcome Vaishnavi and Mahima, who are the moderators for today's sessions, to go ahead with the session.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for having us here. Hello, everyone. It's so glad to host all of you today. My name is Mahima, and I live in India. I have been working for gender since quite a few months now, and I've also been working with the dais on various issues. I run passion projects on gender as well as climate, and I truly believe that gender and climate and everything around us goes hand in hand to the very important issue of gender and gender equality. I head a club in my college in which we work for a campaign of the United Nations Foundation, which is called Girl Up. And I am heading about 50 plus students in my college. And in this whole process of getting involved as someone, I won't call myself as a gender activist, because I personally believe that in this world, everyone should be someone who goes forward and supports gender. So if I call myself a gender activist, I am putting myself on another level, and this is something that every human should do. And for me, before we begin, the last thing that I wish to say is that everyone on this platform that is here with us today, to all those who question you as men or women, that why are you a feminist? I think that the question should also be reframed to why you are not a feminist, or why do not you stand for gender equality, and not just feminism, but be a better ally to the LGBTQI plus community, men who suffer, women who suffer, and just treat everyone as humans. And that being said, now I would like my co-host Vaishnavi to take over.
Thank you so much, Mahima. Hi, everyone. Hello, Sudha ma'am. Hello, Mihika. Hello, everyone. So I'm Vaishnavi, and I'm doing this, like I'm studying in college, doing BCom honors from IP University. It is a state university of Delhi, and I'm trying to work and actively working for women development and especially education. I've been associated with the dais in order to make a change for women and to have a better world where there is no we don't have to actually discuss all these. We have to just be liberated and be empowered already. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Now we would begin by introducing our esteemed panel for today. So, to begin with, today we have with us Jasmine Kaur from Kahani Ki Dukaan. Jasmine Kaur, Jasmine, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Jasmine and I'm the co-founder of Kahani Ki Dukaan. So Kahani Ki Dukaan in a literal translation means a story shop. So we are a rural library and a performance art space. We work with children in villages in India and we set up libraries in different villages. While doing that, so our objective is to inculcate like reading habits in children and to help them, grow critical thinking, help them to develop critical thinking while reading, because we believe that reading should go beyond textbooks. So we run regular book drives and we collect books while doing stories from the villages. We bring stories of villages to the cities and we take the books from the cities to the villages, So it's like a rural and urban exchange. And we provide a platform for the children in rural areas to learn, different performance art, expression art, because we believe it should not just stay within the city limits. It needs to go beyond that. So kind of like acting like a bridge of the rural urban cultural divide.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And we also have Jasmine performing for us today at the end of the session. So all of us are very thrilled for that, because I've seen them performing live, and it literally gives me goosebumps every time I watch them performing live. And now then we have Sudha ma'am with us, who is also the founder of Eco Foundation for Sustainable Alternatives, which is an NGO in Bangalore. Sudha ma'am, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Mahima and Vaishnavi, for giving me this opportunity to be with you all. Yes, I'm Sudha. I'm based in South India, Bangalore city. It's called Bangalore. I have a small organization, is an NGO called Eco Foundation for Sustainable Alternatives. We work at 3 levels. One is at the direct action in the villages, especially. Of course, we have worked in the urban slums, but now focusing on in the villages, quite in remote areas, where working with the women, children, and especially adolescent girls. And so on various issues, from their health, education, and overall development. Then also we work at another level is for trainings and conducting a small research studies. And the other one is to engage with the youth and public on many citizenship, whether it's ethics, rights and responsibilities, all these things. But that is directly sometimes working with even in the colleges also. Mainly focusing again the colleges which are in the rural based. So yeah, in that journey, of course, I learned a lot, and I come across definitely, as I said earlier, also gender are again, of course, we are going to discuss much more what is actually gender. It's not just a women alone, and what is the construct. So I mean, this issue is really cuts across whatever you take up, whatever, whether it's environment, climate change, whether it's an economy, whether it's poverty, or whatever it may be. You can see even in the peace and conflict resolutions also. So I've involved, in fact, I myself got involved in various issues directly, and also I have got the fortunate opportunities even to take the women, the rural. I mean, I don't call uneducated because I just say like illiterate, and those also put in becoming the elected representatives. So this political participation is also very key into this when we talk about empowerment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You always inspire me. Like, thank you so much for always being there and for always guiding us through every dialogue and every segment that we do. So now we have Jasmine. Jasmine is a development expert and has worked in this sector, particularly in rural development, for over 12 years. She works as a consultant with different organizations, and her expertise is in the field of women empowerment, education, skill development, and livelihood, along with healthcare, as well as environmental sustainability. Jasmine, would you like to say a word?
Thanks, Vaishnavi and Mahima. I'm really happy to share this platform with many other speakers who feel the same what I feel about gender issues. So all these factors which have been mentioned by Vaishnavi, all the projects that I've worked on are related to bringing about a gender equality, as I mentioned before also, which includes the sex workers, includes normal women, women in rural communities. So there is a strength in them which is kind of put in control at the hands of others, because maybe they know that the strength with which inequalities happen, if one day someone stands up to those inequalities and says no more is being tolerated, many it will have a repercussion on many of the people whose vested interest lies in creating those divides and inequalities. So on this platform, I just want the voices to come together to accept, first of all, that issues of inequalities across gender still exist, to find amicable solutions that we can all work together to bridge the gap between the equality and inequality part. And because, as Keshav mentioned, all these points are interrelated. When we talk about education, there is a gender factor which comes in, because many girls, or in fact, let's say from people across LGBT communities, do not have the chance to pursue it. If it comes to healthcare, they again face issues. When we talk about a peaceful society or talk about peace in the world, women play a pivotal role. And when inequalities or discriminations are meted out to people from LGBT communities, it again leads to unrest, disrupting the peace of that particular society or community. So, and in terms of climate change also, we have seen in India especially many of the andolans or protests which were done to protect forests, the lead were taken by women itself. And because they felt the need that it was important for future generations. If the environment is damaged, it will harm, and the future generation will be at stake. So at every pivotal point, this has been the strength. And we are that we are here, I really look forward to listening to the experiences of others who have taken up projects on these lines and work together with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, and thank you for playing an important role in guiding us today. And now we have Mihika, and Mihika is a writer, trainer, strategist, consultant, and a change initiator. She is the author of 3 books. She's a founder of Strategic Transitions, a training and an HR consultancy firm, a youth empowerment program called Life Success Principles, and the Recharge Women's Empowerment Group.
Sorry to
Mihika, we
interrupt.
welcome you. Would you like to say a word?
That's Simone's bio. Mihika is actually the founder of Ladyship. I'll let her introduce herself.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Mihika. So first of all, thank you all so much for including me on this panel with such amazing and inspiring women. I'm Mihika. I am actually the founder of Ladyship, and that is a nonprofit that I have that is regarding women in leadership positions, as well as a podcast series called Inspire Her, where I interview successful women to help women in my generation or younger generations, such as millennials, learn how to navigate their careers and get into leadership positions. I am super excited to be finally participating in a gender-related issue, because because of COVID-19, I haven't been able to participate in as many panels or public speaking events regarding this topic that I'm so incredibly passionate about. So I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity. Obviously, as an intersectional feminist, I'm very, very glad that we're going to be talking about all sorts of issues regarding gender disparity. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here with everyone, and I'm really excited to hear everyone's stories, especially being younger myself. I'm very honored to be in the presence of so many inspiring, successful women, so I can hopefully learn a little bit from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mihika. I think you inspire us all, and you are working so much. Like when I read your profile, it's so inspiring and so motivating to do something great. And there is no boundary like age or anything of that matter. So to have a smooth flow of discussion, we have established some ground rules. So number one will be, please stay muted and unmute when you want to communicate or share something with the forum. Use the raise hand feature or chat box option if you wish to ask something. The key to a successful dialogue is timing, so we would request everyone to join in 5 minutes before, and in order when you will be speaking, try to make a concise note. I hope that we will together create spread awareness, inspire, and instill hope in many others.
Vaishnavi, I would also like to welcome Simon here, who's there on call with us today. Simon, I would like you to share a welcome note from your side as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Jasmine, and greetings to all of you who are here. I am already inspired just by listening to everyone introduce themselves. It's amazing. When you plan these things, you don't expect sometimes the synergies that come out of it. And so I'm already feeling that synergy just out of what everyone is doing, such important work. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm from the Bahamas, born in the US, but raised in the Bahamas to Bahamian parents. And my work really now involves leadership development, training, coaching, and mentorship. My brand is the Limitless Life Coach. And I focus on people finding, first of all, what their higher purpose is, because I believe that at the core of that, when you have clarity around that, then it gives you the confidence to go out there and to really impact lives and communities. And so I focus on limiting beliefs, those things that hold us back from really getting out there and living the life that we're supposed to live and having the impact and the influence that we're supposed to live. I especially love mentoring. So when Mahika was speaking, I was like, woo! And so I motivate, mentor, and mobilize, in particular, millennial leaders, because I find that as a Generation Xer, we've kind of been overlooked in the conversation, and we, I believe, play an integral role in ensuring that the next generations of leaders are equipped and find their personal power and are elevated to definitely impact their communities. So I'm happy to be here with you all today.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank everyone for introducing themselves. In addition to what Vaishnavi said, since today the end goal of this discussion is to cover a wider goal, I would request everyone to keep their statements limited, as we want to encompass everyone's opinion on the questions we put forward. Now we would like to begin our discussion, and I would be putting forward the first question we have from our end, hoping to have a fruitful discussion with all of you. So my first question to you goes as something very important and it has led to a lot of confusion amongst people. I would like to know that what, according to you, is the difference between these three terms: gender equality, gender equity, and women empowerment. So, Meka, I would like to know your views on that topic.
So recently, actually, over quarantine, I've been getting into a lot of political theory reading, and one of the big distinctions I've read is the difference between equality and equity. So equity, gender equity, in my opinion, is specifically regarding ratios and numbers. So an equal amount of women and men in specific fields. And then equality is like the next step, where it's like making sure that those equal amount of men and women are getting equal treatment. And I think in order to make that next step, that's where women empowerment comes in. So going from gender equity to, so first we have to get to gender equity, obviously. And then once we get there, from gender equity to gender equality, we need women empowerment in order to achieve that equal treatment. But that's just my opinion. And I think that women empowerment is extremely important in order to reach that final stage of complete equality for all genders.
Thank you so much, Mika. And before we begin, we move ahead, I would also like to bring in picture Hermina with us, who has allowed us to have such amazing speakers on the panel with us today. So Hermina, if you can just introduce yourself to us and let us know your thoughts as well on the dialogues.
Oh, thank you, Mahima. I wasn't expecting to speak today, but thank you so much to all of you. I'm so thrilled to be amongst all of you, empowering young people and from all generations. I think today what is important is that the youth lead the future, that we give them the platform to voice their opinions on whatever issues that they think matters in the world that they're living in today. When I started the Aspire Artemis Foundation, I thought about all of these meetings and conferences and events that I was attending, and I constantly asked myself, where are the youth? Where are the women? You know, they're not here. Where are the? We're in a meeting focusing on women and youth, and no women and youth are in this meeting. So how are women, youth, and youth supposed to succeed without even being present? Their voices can't be heard if they're not in the room. So although things are starting to change, and thank God, you know, COVID has happened, and we have platforms like this to bring together people in wider ways that we would not have imagined possible in a traditional platform. So I think I'm very pleased to be here and to be part of this discussion. And today we're here to talk about gender equality. Gender equality, it does not mean replacing men with women, but allowing them the opportunities to work side by side in an equitable manner. I think all of the organizations that we represent here, what they do is they create opportunities for the advancement of people in general. And for me specifically at the Aspire Artemis Foundation, we work with youth in vulnerable and marginalized communities, and we connect them to positive and inspiring mentors. And we utilize an approach that we term EMI. It's three-pronged. It focuses on education, mentorship, and internship. And we think that this bridges the gap between theory, policy, and practice, and allows people to take actions on the things that matter. So I don't want to talk too much here. I mean, I've connected with many young people across the globe, and one thing that I think that is underlying is that you are all change makers, you're all doers, and I'm here to listen to what you have to say on the topic of gender equality and the gender roles and gender stereotypes. And let's just be cognizant of all of the different intersectional aspects of the term gender. And I look forward to contributing in whatever way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, coming back to the question that we put forward to the panel is, I would like to know, Jasmine, for your views on what do you think is the line between these three terms. Jasmine, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I think Mahika put it very, very well when she said that these are steps, like you first come to gender equity and then you move on to gender equality. And in between that, you need women empowerment to actually reach gender equality. And I would just add, to that it's very important to recognize that, and in all of this, the gender roles that we have stereotyped and the gender roles that we have assigned, when we talk in terms of, when we talk in terms of employment, or when we talk in terms of like, why are there certain jobs that are only meant for men, and why are there certain jobs that are only meant for women? Like you will enter any office building, and the first thing you'll see is a woman sitting in the, at the reception area at the desk, because it's apparently a woman's role. It's a job meant for a woman. Like, who said that? Secretaries should be women. So these are the tasks that are to run around and arrange things, to bring coffees, and to bring, like, even if you're sitting in a meeting, and Harmeena also said this, that while there are meetings going on about and discussions going on about women empowerment and about gender equality, there are no women present. So these are the things that we need to look at when we are talking about, when we talk about gender equity, that the roles are defined and the roles are equal and the opportunities are equal, are given equally. And we need to move beyond looking at who is there for the interview. I was reading about how during in the orchestras, they used to have only male musicians, and a lot of female musicians would not be hired just because they were female. So they started doing interviews like behind the screen, where the panel, the judges could only see, could only hear the music, and they had to judge only by listening to the music. So these are the things that, when you just, it's the stereotypes that are in our head, that women won't be able to do the job properly, or they will have to look after the baby at home, so they will not be able to give the time, and because these are the roles that we have given women, the society has given women. So we need to define that, okay, like, we need to get rid of the boundaries that we have set, and we need to get rid of the stereotypes that we have set of the jobs that women can and cannot do. And that is only when we will be able to reach gender equity. We'll be able to understand that, yes, the roles and the jobs and the opportunities for all genders, and here I am talking about not just male and female, and I talk about transgenders, and I am talking about non-binary people, because we are not really recognizing them as, when we talk about gender equality, we are only going about, okay, male and female and male and female, but we need to recognize all of these identities. And then we go to gender equity, and then women empowerment, and men who, women who were men, like transgenders. So we have to acknowledge them, and then only we will actually reach gender equality. So there are steps that we need to take to reach there, and there are big steps that we need to take and small steps, but there's a lot of work, I think, that needs to be done.
Definitely, Jasmine. And I think that to answer all the questions, answer all the differences, the only thing we need to bridge today is that when we all of us start treating each other as not on basis of our identity as girl, boy, or anyone else, but as humans, and that's where all of us bring this difference, lessen this difference. And I think Mahika and Jasmine have put it forward very beautifully. And now I would like to move to my next question that I have for the panelist, which is that why the expression of interest is based upon your gender. So firstly, I would like to know, Sudha ma'am, your views on this.
Uh, yeah, thank you so much. And also, I really enjoyed, all others expressing their views on what is gender and all the equity and equality and empowerment. Mahima, I could not, I mean, what is that question? Which, in fact, I was wondering about it. Could you
Yes,
elaborate a bit to
yes,
understand what that particularly means?
yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, when I say that, what is my expression of interest? So, like, if you see the wall behind me, my parents thought just because I'm a girl, I'd like the color pink, so they painted it pink. So, why is that? That my gender decides my interest. That if I'm a girl, my parents will say, "Oh, definitely you're going to become a doctor because all girls around us are becoming doctors." So, I want to know from all of you that why is our gender a deciding factor for our expression of interest?
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for elaborating a bit because I was just wondering about it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we have already brought out the kind of, gender stereotypes, right? Already I mean, we are all aware of that. I don't think we need to repeat the same thing. The stereotype is so much, conditioned. It's deep inside everyone. I mean, it's not that I chose that. I'm been conditioned to, to uh, to express myself. And what is that I want? Like, of course, for me, personally, I'm not. I'm above. I'm beyond all that. Okay, personally. But when you come generally, when you look at the society, this is how this is being expressed, and you could say everything is like, whether it's your games, whether it's your occupations, as already Jasmine was explaining about, I mean, whatever, like what you want and how, I mean, everything comes with the, like, woman is supposed to do this. So we are already fixed into one particular kind of a framework, so that you, whatever you do, it has to be within that, right? I think, I mean, again, it goes back to the patriarchy. So the patriarchal mindset, which has gone, whether it's a man, a woman, or I mean, of course, definitely I want to bring in the transgenders and LGBT also. So LGBT, of course, there's completely, they are put into that, when you talk about equity, right? Equity is that thing, whereas any vulnerable groups, whether it's with the LGBT, whether it is differently abled, or with I mean, in India, caste-based discriminated and exploited, and in a racial, when you look at the other way. So all these are, there is a kind of, uh, it's already fixed. We are supposed to do this. Of course, we are all breaking that. We are no more into that. Actually, we know that we are individually, we are breaking all those structures within, I mean, which is actually built, around us. So this is what we need. For that, breaking that structure, how we are going to break the structure? It's, of course, there are many enabling environment, like, education, whether it's your peer group, where, you are going to learn many other things. And, even this kind of dialogues, which you really get into, empower yourself. I mean, I'm using this word called empower, because there is something, when I get into that, sometimes I say that we have to disempower to empower also, because there are certain ways, like you have to disempower yourself, because there is a domination, where is its hierarchy, but one thing we need to understand, that there's nothing like homogeneous, whether it's a women, whether it's a transgenders, whether it's a men, there's nothing like homogeneous. Even among women, look at our own differentiation and different, caste-based occupations. I mean, in India, especially the caste, and in, of course, US, they're facing the racial, ethnic, there are so much, uh, uh, structural, hierarchical and structural difference. I mean, differences are being, injected. It's been inbuilt within us. So how to break those structures? Okay, then the stereotypes gradually will break, and that is where we have to really work towards that. I'm sure all of us are working towards that, but we need to understand the traditionally the mindset, how it has been completely got into our mind. In fact, unconsciously, it's not even sometimes conscious. You are not conscious of how you are discriminating others, how you are hegemonic on others, how you are controlling the others. In fact, in a patriarchy, for that matter, what do you mean by patriarchy? Basically, the patriarchy also doesn't allow you even to have a dialogue. It is basically is a monologue. You just have to do, and I will tell my, my in my office. Now, a girl or a woman doesn't matter, but again I have the hierarchy. So that is a way I condition, I control, and I just, you have to listen to me. That's all. No more, no dialogue. So where is that space? So we need to understand all these things and practice. It's not just understanding theoretically. In fact, I taught for a while to undergraduate students on feminist theories. I was really surprised myself when I was teaching the theories. I was getting into some, the kind of responses I was getting, it's completely different. Where are we? I'm trying to break the structures to them. I'm trying to make them to understand, but they did not want to break the structures. That also happens. So these are the things, we need to deal very, very sensitively. And in the process, I keep changing myself. It doesn't, we are not just, see, the word also, the catalysts and, change makers and all that. It is actually, I keep changing myself. Today, I evolved to a certain extent, but today, right here, among you, I'm learning, and I'm evolving myself, listening to your own experiences. So this kind of a thing, it has to be deep inside us. So then only we can see, Mahima, I don't know whether I answered your question, but this stereotype, it's a long process. It's a very introspective and also very challenging, because you need to challenge your own families, your own communities, your own environment everywhere, right? And
Yes.
challenging is a risk. Whether shall we take a risk, or shall we just conform and ultimately we become conformists? I don't know. That's the thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sudha ma'am. Well, I do realize that all of us have so much to add to this forum, because gender is something which is very personal to us. But I would request all of you to keep your remarks limited to maximum of 60 seconds, because we want to inculcate as many speakers as we have today. Simone, I would love to have had your opinion on this question, but I would now love to take one participant who have been here listening to all these speakers very patiently. So I would like to have a quickly, in around 45 seconds, views of any of our participants who would like to add anything to the given question. If anyone wants to speak, they might raise their hand and we can recognize them.
Bahima, we have someone from Nigeria who is a volunteer with Dare Women for Change initiative, and she was there for the education one as well. So I would really like to know if she would like to speak on this.
Yes, definitely.
Chiamaka, would you like to comment?
Okay. This is afternoon Nigeria. I'm happy to be with you all. I'm Okorigwe Chiamaka from Nigeria, and thank you, Jasmine, for introducing me. And I want to thank all the speakers. They've spoken very well on the issue at hand, gender and the stereotypes all attached to it. So there's been an interesting session so far, and from what the speakers have said, that's exactly what's happening in Nigeria as well. In a population of over 120 million, we have just 50%, and with 50% of it being females, we have little of them taking up political positions, taking up positions in which they are supposed to. We have few of them taking up positions which have stereotypically been made for just the male gender, and certain customs certain traditions that seems to limit women, and all these things come together to make the female gender less superior to the male gender. And just as the speakers have said, that we have to move from gender equity to equality, and we have to get to that position whereby the women are being empowered. We have over a lot of places, a lot of communities where women this mindset, they have not been touched. They really have a lot of work to be done there. I can remember one of our outreach with Dear Women for Change initiative, where we went to a certain place in the eastern part of Nigeria, and we got to a community where women there, just at a very young and tender age, they don't want them to further up in their education. They just want, after the basics, that's the primary, secondary school, they're ready to get them to get married, or get them to do every other things aside getting themselves equipped for what the society expects from them. So being here, I hope to learn a lot from the speakers, and I hope to create more opportunities where women will get empowered, and the society, especially here in Africa and Nigeria, gets more women to participate in international issues and become relevant to their societies and nations. So thank you very much. It's been a very wonderful opportunity being here with you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was so insightful. So we have another question, which is like this is very close and very relevant to what we are seeing from ages. Is that why are there certain traits defined for femininity and society considers them as a benchmark? Mihika, would you like to answer that question?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat the question really quickly? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So why there are certain traits defined for femininity and society considers them as a benchmark?
Right. Okay. So I firmly believe that gender, masculinity, and femininity are complete social constructs that have been created to uphold the patriarchy in our society and uphold males as the superior gender. And I believe that all of these ideologies are present in every single human being. So women have aspects of masculinity and femininity within them, just as men have aspects of masculinity and femininity within them, which is where the term toxic masculinity comes from. It's men who are not in touch with their feminine side, or they dismiss their feminine side as something that is disgusting or repulsive or something they need to push down. And I feel that it's important to point out to society that it is okay to be in touch with your masculine and your feminine side. In fact, every person should be in touch with their masculine and feminine side, as gender is a social construct. I, as a female, do not necessarily have to be feminine, and one of my male friends does not necessarily have to be masculine. Whichever aspect of their personality fits them, that is who they are. It's not gender that defines whether they're masculine or feminine. It is their personality. And I feel that annihilating these social constructs that put women in this box of what is expected of us and what we are supposed to adhere to is absolutely integral to changing the fabric of gender stereotypes as they are. So first of all, abolishing the social construct of gender, and then second of all, ensuring that femininity in both men and women is embraced rather than put down. Addressing things like toxic masculinity, internalized misogyny within women as well. Those are just things that I feel like are important to bring forth to ensure full gender equality.
Thank you so much, Mihika, for that remark. Simone, would you like to add on to what Mihika just said?
I will try, because she gave an amazing response. This absolutely amazing. And I'm very happy to piggyback off what you said, because I absolutely agree. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. And now I'm going to throw a curveball in this conversation. I'm just going to put my disclaimer out here, because as much as I am a supporter of women's rights, I'm also a supporter of men's rights. And I believe that in order for us to find equity, which is fairness and justice, and equality, which is access, that we have to have balance in the conversation. And so if we don't have that balance between men and women, boys and girls, then the scales aren't going to measure up. And so when we talk about balance, even in this wider conversation, we also have to talk about balance internally. And so and I've seen bad examples on both sides with men and women, right? And there's this belief that in order for women to be powerful in these institutions, in our cultures, that we have to be like men. And that in itself is also a negative view, that power is seen as masculine, right? And it puts men in a very difficult position as well, because it now tells them that in order for them to be powerful, that they have to show up a certain way, that they have to, be very domineering and abusive. And you have men that now struggle because they don't want to present themselves that way. They want to be balanced in their approach. They want to be not only powerful, but also compassionate, which is seen as a female trait, right? So we are human. And I think that this has to be our benchmark. The fact that we are human and that we are created with all of these characteristics that are both considered male and female. Why do we attribute power and authority to masculinity, and we equate emotion and the softer side of humanity to femininity? And so when we find this, when we strike this balance, we will see it in our homes. How powerful is it when a father can demonstrate not only the show of discipline and affection? How powerful is that when we see our mothers do the same? Then we will see powerful children, and children who identify with who they are as a person, showing up in a world that is fair and gives them access to opportunities.
That was so rightly framed, Simon. Thank you so much for your input. We have one participant, Sukriti. Sukriti, you raised your hand. Would you like to add on?
Yes, ma'am. It would be a huge honor to add on. Ma'am, uh, like, uh, like, like, uh, Simone ma'am said that for gaining and for being a powerful person, and being a woman is not easy. Like for being stronger and more powerful, we just have to be or behave like men. For example, like suppose if a girl cry and a person say that are you weak or don't try and behave like a man. To be strong and like we are already considered as a weak in the stereotype system. So like to be strong and more powerful, we the stereotype society wants us to she behave like when be like one. We cannot be ourselves in front of them to be strong.
Thank you so much, Sukriti, for your input. Jasmine,
Yeah. Hi. I
would
just
you like to add on?
Yeah, I just want to add something to what Simone mentioned, and I completely agree with her that the patriarchal and the patriarchal constructs which have been created in the society are so strong that women are seen in a particular role, and and men are seen in a particular role, which reminds me of a case on which I was like, we were working on a sexual harassment case, because as per the laws in India, you have to set up a sexual harassment company within every organization. It has a certain book. So when one of the cases which came up, so there was this girl, there was this girl who put forward a complaint against a guy in the office, accusing him of sexual harassment and all these matters. So while we were investigating into the depths of it, at one point, I don't know, something clicked, and I said, I would really like to question the girl as well. And all eyes were pointed at me, and they were like, how can you, being a woman, accuse another woman of such a shameless act? Do you think she's lying? I said, it's not about lying. I feel there is something missing, there is a gap which is there. So I would really like to put the two people on equal pedestal, and if he is being grilled, if he's being accused of something, I really would like to know the girl's involvement as well. And later on, I also got to know that the guy who was being emotional, he was really in a sad state of affairs, and his family was saying, oh, are you a girl, why are you brooding over things? You should be, I mean, they were enforcing him to adopt this toxic masculinity, and in fact harm, or not allowing him to express his emotions. So that is when I realized that, it's not about the man or the woman. It has, both are human beings, both have emotions. If a man can display at aspects of toxic masculinity, as we mentioned, the same traits of harming someone can be there in a woman also. So we cannot say that when we talk about that image of kindness, that love, it's only the woman who comes in front, or affection when comes in front. But when we talk about masculinity, when we talk about power, when we talk about wealth, why is it that always the man comes in front? So that also needs to be addressed, and I'm very happy that Simone mentioned it.
I just want to add something to the discussion. I think that, equality, we all start from the same place. And it requires the same things. Equity then presupposes that the system, the structure is broken and it's biased. So I think that inequity, it occurs when bias exists within the system, within the structure, and it prevents equality, and it hampers progress and results and outcomes. And when a system exists that is set up for a woman to behave a certain way, or we are socialized our behavior, our normative behaviors tied to our gender, this is all because of the way the system is structured. And then that then down filters into the family structures. And then our families then internalize what the society has defined as what these roles are for men and women. And then that then filters further down to the youth, because then our parents then internalize what the system has taught them, and then they teach it to the youth. So I think it all has to, if we have to break down these roles and what what has been set up in the structure as what women and men are supposed to be, or what their roles are supposed to be, or when toys are made and we're socialized for girls to play with certain toys, or for boys to play with certain toys, we have to start first from the top, within the structure, within the system, and break down what those terms mean and how they operate. As Mihika so poignantly represented, those roles, when we are born, we have both X and Y chromosomes. We are balanced individuals from birth. So within our DNA, balance exists. So why does that not filter down into the structures of society? And that is because when society was created, it was created by men, by a certain type of man, for his own interests and for that world at that time and the way that that world operated at that time. We live in a different world now. We have included people from different races, from different cultures. We've moved from colonialism to democracy. We live in different worlds now. So the structures that existed in the past need reform, and everyone knows that. And so in order for that reform to take place, everyone has to be involved in the process, and that starts from the grassroots. And the grassroots are the people like you on the call right now who can speak out and say, no, this is not how I live my life. This is not how I feel represented in society. And so this is where the change starts. Movements start from the grassroots and they grow, and then they change systems. So I think the roles that have been imposed on us and ingrained into our minds from childhood needs to be broken down, and that starts with unlearning as well, and addressing our own internal biases.
Thank you so much, Harmeena. I think you gave another perspective about how people are unknowingly related to certain characteristics just on the basis of their gender. So I would like to ask the forum about, do you think children who play with toys designed for the other sex are treated differently from children who play with gender typical toys? Like we are somehow related to toys when we were kids. But now, as we have seen for other genders, there is a change. So, Catalina, we have Catalina with us. Catalina, would you like to answer to that question?
Hi, how are you? I cannot turn on my video right now, but can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Vaishnavi, are you there? I can't really hear Vaishnavi, so I'll repeat the question for the forum. The question says that, do you think children who play with toys designed for the other sex, for example, a girl playing with a car or a airplane designed for a boy, are treated differently from children who play with gender typical toys? Like for example, I was watching a movie in which it was considered weird for a girl to play with his brother's airplane than just for her to play with dolls. So that being the question, I would get back to the speaker. Hi, are you there? All right, she seems to be a bit lost right now. So again, I would come back to understand views of Jasmine on this. Jasmine, what do you feel on this topic, Jasmine Kaur?
So sorry, my video is not working right now. So I was just listening to everyone, and this is something I believe that we have established so far, that there are already stereotypes that are linked to men and women, female and girl, child, and this starts from the very beginning. And yes, it is, children are treated differently because of the stereotypes that have been established in the society, by the society, that the color pink is meant for girls and the color blue is meant for boys. And we established that before a child is born with these gender reveal parties that are the trend now. That And it's like, why is the color pink meant for a girl? Like, who defined that? Who gave us that? And who defined that blue is for a boy? And so like what are gender colors and what are gender neutral colors? Like colors are colors. They didn't get any identity. And then along, especially with the toys, and it's just about the roles that we define, because girls are, from the very beginning of society, of the establishment of society, girls were never meant to go outside and work, and that is why the toys that were made for them were the toys that they would bind them in those roles. And we have been living in a patriarchal society that we have to understand this does not want the woman to go out and be empowered, and does not want the woman to step out of the house and even dream of becoming a pilot, or dream of becoming a scientist, because there are jobs that are meant for men. So the toys that are made for boys are truly representative of that. You will see the toys, you will see I grew up in the 90s, and I used to watch this cartoon show called Bob the Builder. you know like, why is Bob the Builder? And in that entire cartoon series, you could not see one female character. Even in our animation, even in the cartoons that we watch, the gender stereotypes are so ingrained in us, from the beginning of our childhood, that we grow up thinking that girls are meant to be pretty and dressy, and we are only, and that's the role. And that is how we come to the roles of secretaries, we come to the roles of receptionists, and then we come to the roles of models. And like male models, the concept of male models is fairly new. If you consider, for advertising, for print, magazine, it was only meant to be women who were supposed to become, models, because they are pretty and they are meant to look pretty. So these are stereotypes that the society, it ingrains in the children from the very beginning, that slowly and slowly keeps building over, and just keeps getting more and more difficult to get out of, to get rid of. So I think, yeah, I'll keep it short here. And toys should not have genders, colors should not have genders, jobs should not have genders. And that is when we go back to our first question and we say what really, when we can understand what really gender equity and gender equality is.
Jasmine, if I can make a quick remark as a musician, because you've said toys here. Look at how the music industry is shaped, and when we say the greatest blues musicians or guitarists, more often than not, we are thinking of males in our mind, whether it's a B.B. King. Now, I know more deeper parts of that and inspiring young women, inspiring female blues musicians as well. But then when we even look at expression spaces, just the instruments that people tend to give, and this masculinity around a lead guitarist or a lead vocalist.
Yeah.
That Jasmine, for me, guitar is a toy. Like in my mind, as many of us start music at such an early age, I did not have the privilege. So, but I thought about it, and I'm going to keep it very small. And maybe it's an absolutely stupid thought. I just invite you to tell me that when I say this. But one of the things I thought was, people think that a bass guitar is exclusively like Simone is saying, for males because it's heavy. But a bass guitar is only as heavy as a bass guitar. If someone's holding it and playing it, then they can play it anyway, right? And the second thing about being this aesthetic element, where we see, that's my observation, that even in classical music, the orchestra conductors are males. But somebody who's sitting on a double bass or a cello or a violin, which is something seen as a more elegant instrument, or there is some aesthetical sort of a deeper psychological relatability to it. We have seen that these are these have massive repercussions on revenue shares, salaries of how people are engaged. These musicians become managers also at a certain point, producers. Just wanted to put in all these thoughts, and would love to also know from Simone, because Simone has seen a lot more of the evolution of that music, that genre there. So Simone, what do you think?
I think that you're absolutely right. And I think that because our societies have socialized us all this way that we don't even challenge it, you know, and so we think that it's some anomaly when we see a quote unquote girl drummer or a woman on the bass or doing something behind the scenes, like being a producer or being an engineer or being a sound tech or something that is typically considered to be a male thing. And I'm grateful for seeing it slowly evolve. But I would love for it to get to that place, as we've been sharing this morning, where, you know, as Jasmine said earlier, that there should not be a shock factor when we see people in various roles, despite gender, showing up, and it shouldn't be like, oh wow, she's a drummer. Oh wow, he's this or that, you know? And so I really am looking forward to that day when we can, and we can only do it when we have forums like this, when we in our individual lives and our platforms do as you are doing, and everyone else that's tuning into this and on this panel, continue to push the envelope, continue to challenge the paradigms that are keeping us bound. And that's the only way that we're ever going to see change. And so as you are in music, continue to push the envelope and create change, not only through the music and what you do, but how you deliver it, how you work with everyone around you. And that, you know, that to me is how change begins.
Thank you so much, Simone. I think all of you have been so inspiring. I've learned so much in this past 1 hour from you. But one tipping discussion that we didn't cover in our discussion is that why society still doesn't accept people who belong to different sexual orientation. Why are people just considering two genders, he or she? Why not them? Why not they? Why not we become allies of the LGBTQI plus community? And I've seen Mehika being very passionate to talk about it. So Mehika, we would like to know your remarks very quickly.
So I'm a bisexual human being. So I'm very, very passionate about the LGBTQ community because I'm a part of it. And I love to see all of the allies that we have in the chat today. I think one of the biggest things that we should take into consideration when considering the LGBTQ community is the stereotyping of gender that actually comes with it. So when, for example, a female is a lesbian or a bisexual person, I realized that a lot of people, when I came out, I thankfully had a very easy experience coming out. I was surrounded by very accepting people. But when I came out, the first thing a lot of people would say to me is, you don't look gay. But what is looking gay? Just because I'm slightly feminine, does that not mean that I'm who I am? Or if a male is gay and he is not necessarily as flamboyant as what stereotypes a gay male, that doesn't mean that he is any less his sexuality or I am any less my sexuality because of a gender stereotype. It's almost as if people have in their brains that, oh, if this girl likes a girl, then she has to adhere to male gender norms, or if this guy likes a guy, then he has to adhere to female gender norms, when that's not really how it works. It's just attraction. You can be just as feminine as you want or as masculine as you want and like whoever you want.
Thank you so much, Mehika. And we have one question in the chat box, and it really interests me as well, that there are a lot of people who take a lot of time to discover their sexual orientation. So if you do not mind answering or telling us that, how did you discover your sexual orientation? Did you always know that, you know, you belong here? Or did it take some amount of time for you to discover that? Or did someone else do it for you? So how was your journey like?
So for me, growing up, I had it in the back of my head, but when I was younger, I called it a friend crush. So when I had uh, a slight attraction to a girl who was in my grade, I'd be like, oh, I want to be friends with her so bad. I want to be friends with her. And it was just in the back of my head. And then as I moved on to high school, I became friends with a lot of queer people who were super accepting, and they taught me all sorts of things about the community. And I began to realize, like, oh, wow, that's how my mind works. And it took some time for me to figure out everything. But I actually came out it was June-ish, June, July. So pretty recently, actually. But I always kind of knew. I think the number one identifying factor for me, I don't know if you guys know this show, but Avatar, I had a crush on every single member of that cast. So there's always going to be, there's some sort of click. I think having friends who are part of the LGBTQ community definitely helps, because they will help you navigate it. But also, if there's that feeling that you kind of know, you will know throughout your entire life almost that it is there. And it might just be like a lingering feeling, something that you don't even realize is there until it clicks in your head. Like, I didn't even recognize that that was a part of me until I came out. And then I began to like think back on my history, and I was like, oh wait, that was a crush. That was a crush. That was a crush. And it all eventually circles back to a part of your identity. And it's for both men and women. It happens for all bisexuals and anyone who is part of the LGBTQ community. You just have an internal feeling or some sort of internal struggle that when you come to accept it, it relieves, and then you know.
Right. And you know, you won't believe it, I got to interact with a lot of people in India who belong to the LGBTQI community. We have a lot of events like Mr. Gay India or Miss Trans Queen India in here. And all of these people, when they come up with their stories, they express it so beautifully, so happily. But there's always some amount of struggle that's there in your head. But when you put it up, you always put it up with a brave smile on your face, knowing that, you know, what you have today is something which is very precious. And on that point, I would also like to know what do you think, Harmeena, on this topic? That how can we as a society change people's opinion on different sexual orientations and status quo? Are you there with us, Harmeena? I think we cannot connect to her as of now. But is there anyone else who would like to comment on
I'm
this?
sorry, can you repeat the question? I was away for a
Yeah,
second.
it's okay. It's totally okay. So I wanted to know that how we as a society can be more accepting towards the people which have a different sexual orientation, who just do not identify themselves or as male or female, and you know, we can be a better allies of the LGBTQI community. How can we change that perception amongst the society?
I think to answer this question, I will first start off by saying that we are all human beings to begin with. We have, as I mentioned, we're born with X and Y chromosomes. We are made up of different factors that make us who we are. And when an individual has an expression or a desire and an interest about their own personal life, I think that is personal to that individual. And if we come from a human understanding that the way people feel and their desires when expressed it operates in the personal sphere, then we can become understanding of people from whatever difference exists, whether it's a different political opinion, whether it's a different gender, whether it's a different gender expression. We all, I think that in society, we tend to try to force people into boxes. You know, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like that, or there's no sort of leeway to go sort of in the middle to say, maybe I may disagree or I may agree. Whether or not I agree or disagree, it's not my place to judge what someone's expression of what goes on in their personal lives is. So I think this could lead to a greater understanding of peoples, of ideas, whatever that difference exists. And when it comes to the LGBTI community, they're human beings in the end. What they do within the realms of their personal lives as consenting adults over 18 years old is not my business, it's not your business, it's not anybody else's, it's their business. If you hold a belief that you disagree with what they're doing, then you're entitled to that. No one's telling you not, you know, we can't change people and their ideas that are ingrained within their religions overnight. We can't do that. We have been societies that have been structured on rules and regulations set forth, as I mentioned before, through structures. I don't know how people don't know that back in however far back as you can go, males had concubines, that were of the same gender. I mean, it exists, it's not like something new. So, I mean, whatever people do within their personal lives, I personally don't intervene into that, don't judge. It's not my place. I do not give myself that much power to judge what people do with their lives. As long as it forms with what we see as moral, ethical, consenting adults over 18 years old or whatever that society deems as consenting adults do, it is not my place. And I think society can learn more from each other if we just listen to each other, even though we disagree. And I think we live in very highly politicized times now that everything has to become political. Like, when did someone's personal life have to do with politics? Like, I don't place myself in those realms. I don't look at it. I don't judge other people's actions based on who they love, what they do. I may have my own personal opinions on that based on what religion, what society, whatever. It's not my business to interfere with what I may feel something about what I want for me. I'm a straight woman. Doesn't mean that I can't have friends who are from, have different desires. I mean, we're all human beings. I don't put myself in these places. So it's not my place, and I don't think it should be anybody else's place to regulate someone's personal life. And once we address it from we're all human beings in the end aspect, and take ourselves out of what people do with their personal lives as grown folk, I should say, then we can move forward as a society.
And before Vaishnavi takes over, I would just like to take 30 seconds to add that I think in life, all of us should follow this 5-finger rule, is that like have these 5 people in your life. If they do not value you, if you have your life partner who does not value you as your identity, or you have people who do not value you for who you are, do not have them around you, because it's a rule that, the 5 people that stay around you but become like that. So even if people are not accepting about who you are as a society, just let them go from your lives, because there's so much more to yourself when you see yourself as an individual. And with that, I would really love Vaishnavi to take over.
Thank you so much, Armina, and thank you so much, Mahima. I think that was truly eye-opening and very insightful. And thank you so much for sharing your lovely experiences. We have Rashi from Enactus Gemtech. Rashi, you have raised your hand. Would you like to add on?
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi. Greetings to all. I'm Rashi from Enactus Gemtech, India. I have the view that love is a pure emotion which every human being has. And instead of making it a girl or a boy thing, as Hermina said, that everyone is an individual first, a human individual first. So instead of categorizing the way we have to love someone or the person we have to love. I think we should normalize the idea of loving someone as an individual and not for them being a boy or a girl. This is something what I believe in.
Thank you so much, Rashi. I think we love the soul than just the body. So we have Sukriti. Sukriti, you have raised your hand. Would you like to add on?
I would
Sukriti Khare.
more on the important topic. It's
I
Sukriti
think
will
there is
not.
some, yeah, that's okay. So, anyone from the participant would like to add on or share their experiences, their views on what all we have discussed so far, and anything related, any story they wish to share with the forum?
Anyone would like to add anything? I also read
Abhay.
somebody was saying something very inspiring in the chat box. So if we can take her after you recognize who you did, Vaishnavi.
Yeah. So, Abhay Chopra, would you like to add on?
Yeah, sure. So what I really feel is that we really define genders on the basis like it's male or female, but we all should retrospect before that we are more of human beings. I think in this particular like COVID crisis is due to the fact that we have to understand we that first thing to achieve in life is to being a good human being, because nowadays it's not just about gender equality or discrimination. It's a bigger issue. It's a issue about being supported to each and everybody. But eventually it comes down to one of the factors is that gender equality, and it is a really important factor that plays in each and everybody's life. Like everybody faces some other type of gender discrimination, but what I feel is like we always forget the fact that we are more of human beings. Sometimes we have to just forget about the genders which we are talking to or which we are interacting with or whatever, but we have to focus on the basics. Like God made us all human beings. We have the same blood. Doesn't matter, the blood doesn't differentiate between a male or a female. So we have to understand that fact as well.
Thank you so much, Abhay, for giving your views on this. Thank you so much. Keshav sir, would you like to add on? I saw your message on the chat box.
I think we cannot connect.
Can I say something like?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for recognizing me again. So I was a girl. I was a really small girl. Like I was around 13 or 14. I read this beautiful book by Khalid Hosseini. The book's name is A Thousand Splendid Suns, which is based on a girl in Afghanistan who gets married at the age of 12 and has to face everything in life. Like she had no kids, so she was accused for that too, because it was thought to be her fault because she had no kids. And then the way the book proceeds, the way the thoughts have been put up, I at very young age I felt that somewhere in our society we know that things are not correct, but we are not able to uh, accept the fact that this is not correct. So I believe that somewhere when we start believing that something is wrong and we start accepting that, that's where the change begins. We know that we are wrong, so we want to change that. So I think people know that mindset have to change, but they don't they are in a denial phase. I somewhere feel they are in a denial phase. They don't want to accept the fact that things go wrong, or they don't go in the favor of women. So so the society, they don't want to change the way they feel or the way they think about something. But I feel what you have your views about something that really matters is what that makes you, not the way you behave or the people you love or the way you treat others, but some your views and your points about things that really do matter. They are the points that make you a person of the society or a diligent person of the society. That's what my point is.
Thank you so much, Rashi. We have Anantpreet Kaur.
Yeah.
Hi, Anantpreet. Hi, please go ahead.
Yeah, as we were discussing about the gender stereotypes, and even ma'am said that it's like it is fixed in the society that women should look like this or boys should look like this. So I read in an interview just recently by Serena Williams. She's one of the greatest tennis players in the world, and she herself, from her childhood, was like she has been attacked on the basis of her looks, and she herself said that she was ridiculed for being called a man or a person because she has a lot of core strength in her body, and she was biologically born like that. And she simply said, and she laughed actually, and she said that I love my body and I would never change anything about it. It's just because you cannot judge a girl or a woman by on the basis of her looks or how she represents herself in the society. It's her body, she loves it. And it should be normal to see a girl like that or to see a man in a feminine state. That is what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Ananpreet. Indeed, very inspiring. And I also I'd like to add what Rashi said. I've said it before also, that what people do nowadays is that they give you examples that, hey, look, you got the opportunity to speak at a forum with so many people around you. Why are you fighting for your rights? You have all the rights at your place. And like look at US elections. You have a woman standing for these elections. I think to acknowledge the fact that there is still gender inequality, to accept it as something that all of us need to understand as important partners of this gender equality movement. And I would like to thank all the participants for their views on this topic. And I think time just flew, and it seems like we just started a few minutes back, but here we are. And to end, I would just like to have everyone's closing remarks from the panelists, and I would request you to keep it as short as possible and as all of us inculcate all wider audience. So starting up with our youngest mate that we have with us, Mahika, can you please take over and give us your closing remarks?
So thank you again so much for having me on this panel. I have learned so much from you amazing women, and men, obviously. I'm so glad to be in your guys' presence. This was amazing. I think our discussion was extremely productive. I think all of the points that we all made were very important to recognize gender disparity, specifically in childhood phases, as well as aspects of intersectional feminism in the LGBTQ community and more. So yes, I really, really enjoyed this, and I hope to get in contact with as many of you as possible to maybe work on something for the future. Before I end my closing remarks, I just want to do a quick shameless plug. So my nonprofit, Ladyship, I will put it in the chat. It is ladyshipinc.org. And there you can get mentored, you can watch my podcasts, which are available on the website as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. And yeah, if anyone is interested in doing a podcast with me, I will also link my email in the chat, and I would really, really appreciate connecting with you guys. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I hope to work with you guys in the future.
Thank you so much, Mahika. It would be an honor to connect with you, and I'm very hopeful that we do that in future. And Simone, I think that the amount of positivity that you radiate through this screen is amazing. I can't even tell you that your face just brings a wide smile on my face, because I can just see all these positive vibes coming through me through the screen. So I would just like to know your thoughts on what are your closing remarks for all of us. And from my end, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Mahima. I don't know. I know Kishav said the same thing. It's just me. I can't even help it. So I guess it's just my gift to the world, I suppose. But I am just so grateful for this opportunity. You know, when Hermina asked me and she said 7 a.m., I was like, what? But I'm really glad about just being here and being in all of your presence, and like Mahika, learning so much. So happy to connect with all of you and to follow you and what you're doing. And I want to just pledge my support however I can work with any of you and any of your projects. I'm happy to do so. I love doing that type of thing. My closing remarks is really around the word empowerment. And for me, in my own journey of self-discovery and transformation, I realized as I looked at and participated in many of these programs and initiatives and activities that used that word empowerment, I realized that I had to change my personal definition of empowerment. And that's what I want to share and leave with you today. For me, and even if you look it up as a dictionary definition, empowerment is your ability to do something, your ability to perform. And so a lot of times empowerment programs give you the impression that they are giving you power. Power is something that you already have. All you need is enlightenment and to acknowledge the power that you have and release it. Walk in your power. So often we're waiting for someone to give us permission, waiting for someone to say it's okay, waiting for someone to validate us, waiting for someone to affirm us. If you are a man or a woman today, you have power. You are already empowered. So walk in your power, walk in your giftings, walk in the glorious essence of who you have been created to be, who you are, and who you have shown up in this world to be.
Thank you so much. This was indeed so inspiring, so positive. Thank you so much for being here with us. And now moving on to Sudha ma'am. Sudha ma'am, can you please enlighten us with your closing remarks?
Thank you very much, Mahima, giving me space again. I'm really amazed to listen to each one of you, your own experiences, your own personal journeys. And I definitely agree with Simone, right? Am I right in pronouncing? Yeah. That's something like, all of you are empowered. So that is the empowerment. That is what she said. I totally agree with you, with Simone and others. Let's go ahead. Let's practice it and take it forward further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sudha ma'am. And now, before I move on, I'd like to have Hermina with us. And I think it's been I have not talked to Hermina personally, but as far as I've known her, I've heard her speaking. I think she's been such a powerful woman indirectly for all of us. So Hermina, we would love to know how was your first experience with us in the gender dialogue, and indeed very grateful for you to help us in whichever way possible.
Thank you so much for allowing me the privilege of being amongst all of you here today. I think I'm sure I speak for everyone when I just say, wow. I mean, from a young high school student who is a senior, who spoke who has her own company, who has spoken as a TEDx speaker, who has, spoken for the Grace Hopper Foundation, who has had so many experiences as a young person. It is so empowering and inspiring to show other young people what is possible for you, and that there is no limit to what you can achieve if you believe it's possible. I also want to say I'm privileged to be amongst all of these other women here, cross-generational women who have injected this discussion with so much depth and structure and comments that has really made us think today. I think everyone is going to go home and think about what they have learned today. I think there's at least one thing you have learned today from your fellow speakers. And I think one of those things is that young people have power and that their voices count, and they can continue to have their voices be heard and demand that their voices be heard. And I think something that we didn't talk very much about today, thanks to platforms like these, innovation and creativity. Innovation and creativity helps us explore new worlds. Keshav himself is a musician, Piera is a musician. We saw how arts really injected a different structure to the conversation and added a bit of personal touch to the discussion as well. And I think that it allows us to creatively think outside of the box and further advance the goals of development in our societies. So innovation and creativity is very important. And I think through technology, young people can utilize the platforms that exist to have podcasts, to have YouTube channels, to have so many different mediums that can help promote ideas and opportunity that they would want for themselves to have a better life. Given all of these obstacles that we have spoken about, that girls and young women have towards equitable and equal access to the basic building blocks of experiences that they face. And I would term them learning experiences, because throughout our lives, every experience teaches us a lesson that we then filter into our growth. So the experiences and the learning experiences that we have when we are young really shape the way that we address other members of society. And I think it was discussed that it is very important that the structures that exist need to play a role. The governing structures need to play a role and need to take themselves out of conversations where they don't need to be as well. And so to kind of play both a balancing act to bring people together and to allow people to live their lives in dignity and to have justice and the rights that they were born with, that all of their governing documents notate that we are as human beings born with. So when we're considering gender, we have to think about half the population, both halves of the population. And I think that our programs will tend to be a bit more effective if we include both genders in our programming, in our discussions, in our platforms, in everything that exists. The Aspire Artemis Foundation, we do a lot of work on the ground in different countries to give young people and women, particularly in disadvantaged and marginalized communities, the tools that they need to thrive. We promote responsible citizenship. And as I said, education, mentorship, and internships matter. If training if you have the education and not the training, or maybe you have the training and not the education, let's help voice our opinions on what we need to give young people for them to thrive. And let's make the policies that could, let's encourage that our government make policies that enable young people and women and youth and all genders to thrive, people in general, human beings to thrive. And let's work together with the private sector to ensure that we give people access to the platforms that we have available so that people can actually voice their opinions in times like these COVID in a secure way where they may feel that their voices are protected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hermina. Indeed, that was very insightful, and I really hope that we do inculcate all of these suggestions and look forward to have you in our other dialogues that we have planned. And all of you who are here, we have 5 more dialogues coming up. And now I would like to have the convener of these gender dialogues, Jasmine, with us. And I think Jasmine is, I won't like to mention numbers here, but Jasmine is our senior and I'm 18 years old. And whenever I talk to Jasmine, she's always so polite, so sweet, be it any hour of the day. And I just always feel that she is someone who's working with us all the time, making sure everything we're doing is on time. And thank you, Jasmine, for having us, guiding us throughout. And it will be extremely important for us to have you and know your closing remarks for this dialogue. And a big thank you for you for making it a big success.
Thank you, Mahima. I'm seriously overwhelmed with what you have mentioned. Um, this session has been like, oh, wow. I mean, it's absolutely like, oh, wow. I mean, I was till around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like trying, okay, how does it go about? How does it think? Will people connect to what I'm saying? What will the reactions be? Because, some of the controversial questions as per the society we were touching upon, and I really didn't know. But now when the conversation started, I spoke to, and a big thanks to Hermina, Simone, Mehika, Sudha ma'am, to you, Vaishnavi, and all of you here and the participants who are here. I realized that this is the topic which it's not only me who's concerned about, but there are various other people who accept that there is an issue and we all need to work together. And I mean, the gender stereotypes which always comes into the mind of people. For example, I know when women reach a certain age in India, you're supposed to get married or start looking for potential proposals. I, being in the development sector, used to travel like crazy. Like, it was a out of suitcase life for me, 25 days into travel. And most of the time, the mother-in-laws would tell me, potential mother-in-laws, they would tell me, you should become a school teacher. And I was like, why? So they would be like, because this traveling is not going to help once you get married. Who will take care of the house and what will happen to the babies? And that got me thinking. I'm like, you are a woman yourself, you should be happy that you will have a potential daughter-in-law in your house who's going to travel. You can tell them stories about my travel. Instead of that, you are telling me that I should become a teacher. I'm not meant to be a teacher. I cannot teach. I can speak, I can mentor. And then when I said I cannot be a teacher, she said, oh, you're not a woman? Are you not affectionate? Don't you like kids? All those questions came in. I'm like, what has that got to do with me being a woman or not? I mean, it's all about the passion that I share and what drives me. As Simone mentioned, the power is within me and I'll walk with that power. I think the third person should not tell me what power should drive me. So it was very, very lovely, and I am sincerely thankful to be here on this platform to connect to some great minds like all of you here. And so looking forward to the 5 more sessions which will be there. So just to inform everyone, we have all the sessions up to 28th of September, which will be held on Monday. Which will be held on every Monday from evening 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So the next topic which we are coming upon is going to be access to education, which I think most of us can resonate, because at one point of time, even if we are sitting here as empowered girls or women, we too were questioned on the interest or on the topic of education that we should be choosing to conform to the societal norms. So I welcome you all to the next round of discussions right here itself, and a big thank you to everyone.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And now I would like to have Keshav sir with us, and he always says in every dialogue that my work is just to let people in and make sure everything is. I'm the Zoom operator, but all of us know what role he has in just happening of these dialogues. So Keshav sir, if we can hear from you, it will be very an honor for us to have you.
No, I think it's an honor for me to be in the midst of all the amazing people who are there on call with us today. And I'm sure that a lot has gone into being on this call for everyone, whether it's waking up in a US time early morning, which means that the rest of your day is also impacted. I mean, it's hard work for everybody, and I think we can keep moving forward when we keep working hard like this with each other, and and it's a strength that we derive from each other in a time when people are trying to put young people down, and not just young people down, but anybody literally down based on any power structure that they can exercise. Um, so just wanted to say that, and just thank everyone. One thing that I want to emphasize is that for us, the one of the most important parts about these dialogues is to move forward and initiate action, not just on behalf of one person or a group, but even if we can reach out to other people. Now, this action does not need to be one action. It can be a podcast that Mihika can do, right? On her page, and invite maybe a Mahima to that podcast to have a conversation with her about what happened here. This is live streamed on Facebook. So one action is that you let people in on this discussion, and then let people reflect on this, find out what they think about it. I mean, starting from there till the wonderful work, for instance, I know that Girl Up has been doing, and Mahima's team has been doing. All our regional partners, Sahara, for instance, they have been working on the mental health. So there is a very important need to now move forward. We have an Aspire Artemis Foundation, which is driving so many processes. We are now joined by leadership, for instance, from Mika. We're joined by Simone and her wealth of experience, her own organization, and so many of you are here. So my request will be, now we will do a debrief email after this, where we will essentially try to talk about the next steps about this gender stereotype issue. So if all the speakers can send in, especially the speakers who've spoken widely today, can send in their remarks to us on an email. So we will be writing a report, and a similar report will be written for each gender dialogue. If you want to get remarks from more people from around the world, which are not on Zoom today, I mean, their remarks are equally important on the issue, whether they are on the call or not. So if we can somehow create a system, we will be writing to you in a couple of days about it. So my only request will be now to tune in again on the next one, get more people on the conversation, boys, girls, transgenders, anybody is welcome, and everyone's welcome. And whoever comes adds their value to the forum, whether it's compassion or patience, or their insight or their experience or their energy. So just we need to recognize that uniqueness in all of us, while we also recognize the common threads that bind us towards, which I think is an expectation for a better life, for us, for people around us, for people in our communities, and this interconnectedness, interdependence in an ever so globalized world, where, like Hermina was saying, that we haven't talked about technology, but one TikTok video can create a big movement. We have seen how Turkey's entire thing got exposed in the international limelight because of young people like Mahima, who are doing Instagram lives, and so many people like that around the world are running these social media campaigns. So I think just last thing with what Simone had said, just tying it up there, is that with internet and with people getting more access to education at a younger age and technical skills, there is certain leveling fields that are getting created where voices can go out from different channels: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, like so many places, and you don't know who responds. Honestly, that's what I've seen. People respond. So it is important to have that space open for people to express their own identities if they want to, their own stories. And if we create that space for everyone, I think that space gets created for all of us together, which includes us also. So just on that note, thank you all. And Mahima, Vaishnavi, Jasmine, excellent work always with not just here, but you've been doing some really big projects earlier as well. So great work. And the Jasmine is always there. About Jasmine, like she said that I don't want to teach. I just want to tell you that one way to beat these stereotypes is by working right and showing an inspiring example. Jasmine is getting married in 4 days, guys. So imagine that could you ever imagine that she's running this entire dialogue and her responsibilities, and so all our best wishes to her on the 21st. So that's an inspiring example in itself. A person who's managing it just fine, and we should all learn, I think, from that. Jasmine, if you want to say anything, then we'll say bye to you after hearing your thoughts and getting wishes from everyone for you.
Keshav, so I think unfortunately Jasmine got disconnected right when you said it.
Okay, I think it's good that now she can focus on getting married, and I think all of us have made her proud, and if her family will probably watch this video too. So thank you all, and see you guys in the next dialogue. Thank you. Bye, guys.
I think.
Hi, happy birthday, Keshav sir.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank you, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for making my day so brilliant. Send in gifts.
Happy birthday, Keshav.
I'll send in my address. Send me some nice gifts. Okay, bye guys. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, Sudha.
Bye everyone.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
All of you.
Bye,
Bye bye.
Simone.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to be in your acquaintance, Simone.
Bye.